on what I have to share with you too. Sorry, I'm still trying to switch networks because my power just went off. I hope you can hear me.
Your audio is reducing a little bit.
Is it better now?
Yes, so much better.
Yeah,
so much
I was switching networks. Load shedding just happened. So I think
sorry.
I might even actually have my talk around load shedding. Just the effect of it on the mindset.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dix. We call her Dix. Thank you so much. You look so beautiful. We cannot wait to hear whatever wisdom or inspiration that God has given you. So we're going to get right into it and give you exactly 20 minutes to just take us through. And then after that, we'll get right into the conversation. And then, of course, if anybody has any contributions, any questions, please don't forget to leave your comments right on the chat. Let's get right into it. Over to you, my queen.
Thank you, Tabitha. I hope 20 minutes is enough because I tend to, go overboard. But yeah, just the short of what I want to talk about is ministering. So, when you share a story, you are ministering. And I do not take this lightly, so I thank you for inviting me to minister to the people that have joined us tonight. And when I say minister, I do not mean to preach, because people tend to think that ministering is preaching, and it is not. And that's why I'm making it the core, of my talk tonight. I've been joining in all the pro-positive Zoom meetings, for the past week. Yeah, and the thing that stays constant is that it does not matter what you go through, you are going to go through it. You will come out victorious. And the stories that have been shared, what they have in common is just you discovering who you are, knowing who you are, and facing your fears. So that is why I wanted to talk about ministering, that as the year is still, beginning, let us focus on ministering. Who are you allowing to minister to you? And what is it that they are ministering to you? Because ministering is an act of imparting knowledge. It is teaching you, any beliefs, and it is more of a spiritual guidance as well. That is ministering. Ministry can happen in a form of music that you listen to. It could happen by accident. It can happen intentionally. It can happen with you just having a conversation with someone. That is ministry, the information that you receive from whoever that you interact with, and people that you don't even interact with. Let's say, for instance, you are in a taxi and you hear a conversation. Even though you're not engaged in that conversation, but those people are ministering to you, because as they are talking, you also have your own thoughts around the subject that they are talking about. But why do you have thoughts? Why do you have ideas? It is because you are soaking in knowledge. So I want to talk about the danger of soaking in knowledge. What is it that you allow in your space, and the impact that it has on your life? I will share my story of me growing up and my struggle with mental health, and how, I had to now interrogate where this thing started. And it took me back to standard 4, which is now called grade 6. That's how far back that it went. So this is what happened in my life. When I was in standard 6, grade 6, I started a dance crew called the Triple S. With this dance crew, it was just females. There was no boys there. And we went, just going to other places to compete. So when we went to compete, there was this boy that said something. He was not saying it to me. He was not saying it to the crew members. He said it to one of his friends. He said, in this group, only this lady is pretty. And he was not pointing to me. He was pointing to one of the girls in the group. When he said that, I did not pay attention to it. I did not have any feelings, thoughts, or comment, because that's the power of ministering. You don't have to be engaging in that for it to have an impact on your life. So that happened, and it just passed. So a few weeks or months later, this lady said something to me. She said, "Oh, you're dark skinned." I knew I'm dark skinned, but it's not something that I paid too much attention to, or that even mattered, you know, okay, I'm dark skinned, so what? I did not even notice that I'm actually different, you know. So I'll keep on going back to the comments of the guy that from this group, this one is the prettiest. So there was this guy in primary school. I thought that guy was the coolest of the crew. You know, he was dark and he was tall. There was no crush or anything. I just found him cool because, you know, he commanded attention. When he entered into the room, you noticed the guy. So I liked that guy and they called him Nseshu. So I thought this nickname literally means the cool one. And one of his friends happened to call me Nseshu. Excited as I was that I've been elevated now, you know, that I've been promoted to Nseshu, to this cool person, I went to my friends to tell them, to share this, guys, now I'm the cool kid, I'm Nseshu. And they started laughing. They bawled. They went crazy. They laughed for so long. And I could not understand what is so funny. Like, why are you laughing? Are you saying that I'm not worthy of being Nseshu? I'm not worthy of being the cool kid, you know, only to find that Nseshu means the dark one. I did not know that. And still, when they told me that it means the dark one, I still did not understand what was funny about that. If then it means I'm the dark one, then why is it so funny? You know, they're like, no, then it means they're saying you are ugly and you're dark and blah, blah, blah. So that hurt me. Only then I started going back now to the first time that I heard that guy say, out of this crew, this one is the prettiest. He was not talking to me. He did not have any comment about my skin color or my weight or my height, anything of that sort. But now I'm validating his statement by what I'm hearing now. Because somebody is now ministering that you are dark skinned, I am now taking the very first ministry that I heard and I'm validating it with this statement. So as I continue going on, I hear a whole lot of you're dark skin, you're dark skin. Even though some words were positive to say, you know, black is beautiful, white is common. I did not receive it in the black light because how I planted it in my head when it was ministered, it was not planted in a good manner. It was negativity that was planted. So therefore, anything that is attached to me being dark skinned, it came with, you are not pretty. The power of ministry. So if you allow ministry to come in, just check what it is that you allow to come in. Who ministers to you? What do you allow to come in? Because what you allow, you become and you practice. So I dropped my crew because, I mean, who wants to be on stage and be the ugliest of the crew? I dropped my crew and now I went into high school. High school, now, you know, is that phase of having boyfriends and all of that. When boys approached me, I did not see it as them trying to be my boyfriends, but I saw it as them just trying to laugh at me. Say, oh, who could love this one? So now I'm attaching worthiness of love, that I'm not worthy of love because I'm not pretty enough. So I had a desire of, you know, being in pageantry at school, you know, modeling and all of that. But I did not have the courage to go on stage and be a laughing stock, because me being dark skinned, it means people can laugh at me. It means I'm so ugly that I'm a joke. So I am not confident. It is now affecting my mind, and the effects that are going on in my mind is affecting my self-esteem. My self-esteem is now dragged down because of a comment that was made in standard 4. What was ministered to me now is being planted and it's growing and it's becoming bigger and bigger. I went and I was doing theater stuff. I was acting and all of that. But whenever there came time for me to be on stage, I would be fearful. So that is now creating anxiety in me. Because you know what causes anxiety? Anxiety is the fear of getting something wrong. It is the fear of you losing control. So I did not want to lose control when I'm on stage, because now people are laughing at me and I'm the focus. So that caused me not to even, you know, dig into my grade because of what was said to me. Come matric, I don't even want to go to matric dance because of something that was ministered to me in standard 4. Imagine how long I've been carrying this. It's been years and years because I'm not dealing with this, because I'm not uprooting it. It is still there. Whatever comments that come to me, I validate the statement. It does not matter that it's good or bad. I am validating the statement to say, no, but I know that I'm not great. I'm not worthy of love. I'm not pretty enough. I cannot model. I cannot act. I cannot be on TV. I cannot be this. I cannot be that, because I'm not pretty enough. I'm not even second grade. I'm not even third grade. I'm just the lowest of grades, because that's what you do the moment that you allow a ministry to be negative. It traumatizes you to a point that, you are minimizing yourself deeper and deeper. You dig yourself deeper into a hole that it was not even dug. I mean, the guy was not even talking to me, but here I am suffering because of his comment that was not directed to me. Whether there was somebody that actually said, no, maybe Dikeledi is the prettiest of the bunch for me. I don't even know that, because that was not the conversation that I was engaged in or even was listening to. I just happened to pick that up and walk with it. Like I'm literally running with it. So now after that whole ordeal, I passed matric. Now I must come back. And so when I received my matric result, I was at a church camp. Even at a church camp, I was struggling to make friends because, you tend to hide yourself when you have low self-esteem. You don't want to perform when they're performing. You don't want to do anything when people are doing anything. So I was not even enjoying the whole camp experience because I just could not wait to get home. Plus, it's the year that I was in matric. So I just wanted to see my results. They called me, my brother called me to say, you passed, and I was so happy. I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to come back home. So just, make arrangements for me to come back home because I want to see my name on the newspaper. I want to celebrate with you guys. On the 11th of Jan, I come back. I'm so happy. I can't wait, for the big party that they're going to do for me. At least that's what I'm thinking. That's my thought. Thinking they're going to have a big party for me. Around 4 o'clock, this guy takes me. He rapes me. Joy destroyed. I'm raped on the day that I'm so happy to be home, and I'm so happy that I'm going to be celebrating this. So now I'm validating the statement of the ugly. I'm also pulling it into the rape. I am so ugly that people do not even ask for consent from me. They can just use me any way that they want. They can steal my joy because I'm so ugly. I'm not worthy of anything. That is the danger of a statement, that now you're carrying it where it does not even belong. It just goes and goes on. It's like a process, and then later on in the year, I get a boyfriend. The boyfriend that I'm getting, I'm not even in love with this boy. It was for my healing. I literally agreed for the relationship for me to consent to having sex with him. So I already had an idea of what I want out of this relationship. And then now we met around August. October, we have sex. It wasn't great. Did not enjoy it. It was horrible to a point that I stopped and I said, it is over. Like, this relationship is over. I broke up with him same day before, I could even enjoy the moment. I did not even know what is enjoying sex, And then I broke up with him. I was staying with my brother. I moved out same day. I went back home, and just me getting home and bathing was so painful because I could feel my skin peeling off because I felt so dirty. And at that time, I started now cutting myself as a way of relieving the pain that I'm feeling in my heart. I am trying to get rid of it by cutting myself. So I cut myself on my feet, because that is a mental health situation now. It is getting so deep. It started as somebody just ministering a simple word to you. Then a few months later, I discover I'm pregnant. We had this thing once. I did not even enjoy it. I broke up with the guy. I even moved away from that area where he was. And now I'm pregnant. I must come back and say, listen, I'm pregnant. So, I mean, it was only expected that the guy will deny it and say, no, you know what, this is not my child. I'm not ready for this. And then it turned out the guy was married with kids. So the whole situation is now complicated. So I'm now hating myself, for inserting myself in someone else's marriage, even though I did not know about it.
How old are you at that time, Dikeledi? How old are you at that age? You find out you're pregnant, still discovering yourself sexually, and now you are going to be a mother. How old are you at that time?
I was 19.
19.
I was 19 when I gave birth to my daughter. The year after, I was 18 at the time. It was right after matric. So fine, now I'm pregnant. I'm going to be a single mom. So things are going south because of one situation that I could have solved. You know, things are going south and I'm making bad decisions as I go. And then I get into another relationship. The guy cheats. The first time he cheats, I was out of the relationship. I was like, no, you know what? I'm not going to be in this, because I found myself in a relationship where there was a wife and kids. I am not about this life. I'm not going to be the other woman. I'm out. That was quick and easy and painless. Fine, I get in the next relationship. In the next relationship, this guy is great. Everything is going well. And he starts cheating. But here's the thing. Here's what was ministered to me now with these two relationships, that men cheat. Even though this was something that I was not willing to be in a relationship where someone cheats. But because it was ministered, and it was not direct, because ministry does not come in just words.
It was not verbally this time.
So because of the act of that ministering to say men cheat, I'm like, men are dishonest and they cheat and whatnot. Now I'm welcoming this. So when we were supposed to be married, to get married, on the day of us getting married, the guy does not show up. We've got family there. It was the most embarrassing time of my life. He did not pitch because he was out cheating. And he came later on our wedding day.
On the day of your wedding.
And
I'm really struggling to, I don't know if I should mute my mic.
On the day that we were getting married.
On your wedding day.
So the evening he comes, he apologizes. Guess what baby girl does? It is okay. I forgive him, because I mean, all men cheat. Because of what was ministering, now I'm allowing nonsense. I'm accepting all this nonsense that is happening. I forgave him, and you know, the relationship went on. I got pregnant. Guy disappeared, and I miscarried. The day that I miscarried, I called him to say, you know, I'm bleeding. This is what is happening. And they're taking me to the doctor. He came 4 or 5 days later to see me after I miscarried. Somebody that was supposed to be my husband, that's supposed to be there for me, he was not there at the time that I needed him. Guess what? I still forgave him, because I'm not pretty enough. I'm not worthy of love. He's doing me a favor by being here. All men cheat. I'm not going to find any better relationship. It's better to stick it out. Because now I keep on taking things and carrying it into my next and my next and my next. Whereas if you deal with the situation and with what is ministered to you, you can make better decisions, which is what I want to talk to you about. That ministering, it is such a huge thing. Think about just your idea of witchcraft. How did it come about? It came about somebody ministering to you. Like if an old woman comes naked at night, or you find them in your yard, what is your first thought of that person? Are you thinking that this person is a witch, or are you thinking that this person is mentally ill? Your thought process is based on what was ministered to you. And because of what was ministered to you, it will influence what it is that you do in that situation. To say, do I dress this person? Do I burn this person? Do I hurt this person? Do I call, the community to come and help me, mob justice and all? It is based on what was ministered to you. Yes, they might not have told you the details of how to deal with a witch when they're in your house, but because you know that this is a bad thing, you're already thinking bad thoughts towards that. So that is the power of ministry into your life and allowing it to take control into your life. So now all of this happened to me. This guy now introduces me to drugs. So drugs are now my way of coping mechanism. It's drugs. Whenever he goes and cheats and does his own thing, and I'm feeling hurt, not only am I cutting myself, now I'm also taking drugs. He introduces me to club life. Now, Thursday to Sunday, I'm that girl at the club. You'll always find me at the club, to a point where even bouncers and owners know me. Like I'm a regular. When I come in, they're like, yeah, you know, even if I cause trouble, they're not going to kick me out because this one is a regular. She's here from Thursday to Sunday, you know, until such a time where I was like, no, but this is not the life. This is not enough. When he impregnated another lady, and he went to stay with her. And I was like, no, this is it. I can't live like this. When he did that, I tried to commit suicide. Thought, what is the point of living? Because this life is just not giving me a break. I'm just getting bad things after bad things. It's all bad things that's coming my way. So I took pills, and I was throwing up. I was hot. I was cold. I could not even understand what I was feeling. And I went home on that day, and my parents thought that she's pregnant again. It's possibly morning sicknesses. And that was not it. It was me now basically dying slowly. And they took me to the hospital, and, you know, luckily I'm here to tell the tale, until I realized that I need help, But in me getting the help, I had to now go back and unpack what is the root cause. Where did this start from? Where did it begin? And it took time to realize that it started with a simple comment that I was not even paying attention to, that was not even directed to me, because that is the power of the ministry. Because, you know, the mind is a machine that operates your being. The mind is the machine that operates whatever it is that your thought process, because it is the state of remembering. It is your memory, your recollection. It is the part of you that helps you feel, that perceives what it is that is happening. And, you know, especially reasoning. It also works in reasoning to say, this is why this is happening. This is why you should do this, because so and so hurt you. Therefore, you should do this. So what you allow in your space, you become. So, like I said, teaching, it comes in different forms, even music itself. You know, I was watching my daughter. There was a time where she liked Billie Eilish before she was into BTS. Now it's all BTS, everything. So when she was listening to this Billie Eilish song, When the Party's Over, what I noticed about it, it's such a sad song. And, you know, for somebody that is struggling with mental health, you might connect with it. There's a danger in listening to sad songs when you're sad, because it pulls you more into the sadness. Rather listen to something that will uplift your spirit. So what caught my attention with it, music, was the music video. The music video, she's wearing white and she's got this black glass right in front of her, and she starts drinking this black drink, and, you know, this water or drink starts coming out of her eyes and out of her. So she's literally committing suicide. So for somebody that is sad and you're seeing that, what does that tell you? That, you know, if you're feeling sad and you feel like you can't go on anymore, when the party's over, just end it all. Because that is the power of ministry. And, you know, you must know where your strength comes from. For me, I had to realize that my strength comes from God. Because you need strength when you now start facing your fears, facing these demons, because it comes with facing your demons for you to overcome. You know that your strength is coming from this. And you must know that whatever labels that people throw at you, it is not a true reflection of who you are. It is not who you are. It is just their perception of you. And what you think of me, that is your idea of me. That does not really represent who I am. So I needed to love myself, to get to a point of loving myself and accepting myself the way I am, and knowing that my dark skin it is not me. It is just an outside shell. And what makes you notice me, it is this darkness, because it makes me unique. That is what makes me me. Because if then I was like that girl that they were referring to, then, I mean, you would not even notice me, because we will all be just a bunch of pretty girls. And if we're all a bunch of pretty girls, then there's no prettiness to see anymore. So we had to be different in order, you know, for us to show our great, for you to be able to identify us. But the outside shell, it is not who I am. You said I've got 20 minutes, and I said it's possible that I might go further than that. I think I'll just stop here.
All right, I don't know, maybe you can just wrap up for us, because there's a lot to unpack. You mentioned so many things, Dikeledi, that are just like, You know, for me, I can relate so much because of one comment that somebody had ministered in your life at your most vulnerable, because you were just a child, and it was another child that believed. And now, because of this comment, you also, the first thing that really just like came to me was like, you left your group because of that comment, because you at that moment was validating that maybe I'm not good enough to run such a group, because God was teaching you leadership at that moment. So you were a born leader basically, but because of what that young boy had ministered to you, you found yourself in the space where you believe every negative thing that people say about you. Ooh. You also mentioned that you must be careful who ministers to us. You mentioned so many things. You mentioned the abandonment in the altar. You also mentioned the loss. There's so many losses. And also, you know what? I don't even know where to begin. I'm just going to open the conversation. I'm just going to open the conversation to anybody who feels like they have any question or contribution. So whilst we are still waiting for your hands to come up, you know, Dikeledi, I also had suffered. Actually, my story, I know we have chat, we did chat a lot, but I also want to look at how, I also know how your life is right now. I also know that your life has changed, has transformed. You believe in love, and you had learned how to receive love and being loved, right? You learn to love yourself. So I want you to tell us a little bit more about this Dikeledi that I know that is a Miss Global at South Africa semi-finalist, Mrs. South Africa semi-finalist. When that transition, there was a transition and there was a decision that you took and said, this is the woman that I want to become. And no matter the age, I'm going to do everything that I want to do. How did that transition go? And who is this new radiant Dikeledi that you are?
Let me tell you, it was not easy, because it comes with you being honest with yourself. Like I said earlier, it is about you facing those demons, saying, I've got a problem. You must identify first that you've got a problem. And what is it that I'm going to do in order to face this? Like I said, I found my strength from God. So in me realizing that I have not dealt with my rape, I have not dealt, you know, with the pain of being laughed at, you know, of me not being able or being confident enough to stand on stage. What is it that I'm going to do in order, you know, to get to where I want to be? Because this is not the life that I want to live. I do not, you know, the thing is with someone that is suicidal, it is not that they want to die. The only thing that they want to do is just to end the pain or to get out of the situation that you're in. And when you struggle to get out of that situation, you feel like the only way out is death. To say, you know what, maybe if I die, then I don't have to face this, because I'm out of options. I don't know where to run, where to go, how to escape. So it's not necessarily that death is just what you want at that point when you are very depressed. And my husband, my current husband now, he played such a huge role, especially, you know, when it came to me dealing with my rape. Because every January I will have flashbacks. There's triggers, you know, the music will be a trigger, because what music was playing at that time that this was happening. When you hear such music or anything that has the wording in the music that was playing, it will trigger you. Just the smell of, you know, something. If let's say it smelled like lemons on that day, the smell of lemon, it becomes a trigger. If the blanket or the rock or whatever that, you know, you were pushed on or pulled on, it was scratching you, and you feel something like that, that is also a trigger. Or just a certain touch, it is a trigger. So me getting to a point of talking to my husband to say, this is what I went through, and January, please don't touch me, because January, I'm literally reliving that moment. And him being okay with me dealing with that, to say, I will give you space to deal with this the way that you see fit. You know, it's like, can you lend me an ear? And he lends me an ear for me to talk about it, you know, because that's the other thing, not having an opportunity to speak about the things that hurt us. You are basically burying it, and anything that is buried, and you have other things that are coming and coming and coming, there will be a point where it explodes. And when it explodes, because it stores in the mind, that's where the danger is. Yeah. So he helped me with that, saying, is it okay if I touch you like this? Is it okay if I talk? That helped a lot. And because I was somebody also that did not even trust that a man can be honest and, trustworthy and not cheat. When his mom was calling him, because his mom used to call him 3 times a day, I'd be like, oh, one of the girlfriends calling, the makwapeni, like possibly the other girl, whereas it was literally the mom calling because I've got trust issues. Even that took learning, and it took me to get rid of everything that I know or that I think that I know, of uprooting that ministering that happened. Because sometimes you've got to go back to the root cause and pull it out of its root. Because if you just cut the tree, but the roots are still in, believe you me, it will come out. The tree will still grow. You will have to pull it out by the roots. And my husband really helped a lot in me becoming this woman. And he's such a good dad to all my kids, to our kids and my daughter. You would not even say that it's not his biological daughter. They even have such a good relationship that I'm jealous. And that is why, in my bio that I sent you, I think I said I'm a proud wife. And that is one of the, that we've seen so much toxic relationships that we don't know what a good relationship is like. So me claiming that I'm a proud wife, it is saying that I am happy in this relationship. Whether it lasts, it does not last. Somebody's going to hurt someone along the way or whatever. But at this present time, I am proud to be there. It is great. It is going good.
I love that.
So that's basically how
I love it. I love it. I love that, Dex. You're such a beauty. Me, I love you, and I'm just gonna know that everybody's just learning to see how did she do it, because you look so beautiful and so radiant. I have more questions, but I know Jadida has something that she would like to share or add. Please just do share and unmute your mic, sis. JD.
Sorry, my phone froze for a second there. Sorry about that. So thank you for your share, Dikeledi. Thank you for the vulnerability and just sharing your story with us. I know that it takes a lot to get to a place where you can talk about something and not fall apart. And so definitely we can see that a work has been done in your life. My question, Dikeledi, also speaking because we got a chance to kind of talk a bit earlier on before everybody else joined, and just you said that you choose to see the positive, you choose to see the good even on a cloudy day, so just to give a bit of background information, so I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday, I was having a conversation with my mom because she was sharing what they had been talking about with her employees. So in the morning, they usually do like a short Bible study and they have time to pray before they start their day off. And, one of her employees asked to say, what, I've heard the scripture being quoted, and it's the scripture that is Romans 8, verse 28, which speaks about how all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord. And so when she came home, she basically brought that back to me, because her employee was asking her to say, I hear the scripture, but how? How does everything work together for my good when my life is looking this way and that way and, this and that? So my question to you, Dikeledi, is applying that scripture in your life now. How can you reflect and say, what, actually, yes, it was traumatic, but when I look back, I see this and this and this and this. And actually, it did work out for my good because I do love and I do trust in the Lord. So basically, I guess, Mhlambe, I could be asking for a testimony to say, how can you then apply that scripture to your life when you look back, having hindsight now? What would you say? What would your response to that be?
When you're going through the fire or through a storm, it is difficult to see that the storm will end. You start worrying about the flood that it's going to create. You start worrying about how wet you're going to get because it's a storm. I mean, you even worry about the lightning striking you at that point. But here's the thing, it will stop. And there's lessons that you have learned in that storm. That when a storm happens, you know, you've got to have an umbrella, for instance. You've got to look for shelter. You know, those are lessons that you learn in that space. You know, with my rape, I get to share that story and inspire somebody. There's kids where the family itself is the one that is really abusing the child. So them hearing that you can go through this, that you don't have to end your life because this happened, that, you know, it does not mean that your life is over. That is the good that came out of that bad. You know, the person that was making fun of me, or all the people that were laughing at me, they helped me realize how beautiful I am. They got to build me up to be this woman that I am, that I'm able to minister to other people. Because without that, I would not be here. I would not be able to really share this, because everything that you go through, you have a story to tell. Your story, let it be a ministry to someone else. You know, like I said earlier, that even ministering, it comes in a form of action, of you doing something. You going through a tough time, and you might not be a speaker, but you're a poet. Through your poem, somebody else is receiving the message. You know, you're a singer. Through you just singing, somebody else is receiving a message. Through you just going through that hard time, someone else is watching. You know, we entered a competition, the pageant with Tabisa last year. That was my second pageant, by the way. So, which is one of the ministries, you know, to say, I was scared of getting on stage, but here I was going on stage. That shows the growth that happened. So what I want to say, you know, with the pageant is that people that you did not even think that they're looking at you, you start seeing that they're looking at you. They start commenting to say, but what are you doing? Like, why are you entering a pageant? Like, what makes you think you're good enough or you're pretty enough? So they're bringing back all those things, which is why it's important to uproot the problem. Because if you don't uproot it and then you hear these things, you will start now going back into that position that you were in before. But what I'm saying is that people that you think that they're not watching, they are watching. So there's people that are learning, that you're ministering to by you being you, by you buying a car, by you, you know, upgrading your life. You're ministering to someone that, you know, it does not matter where you come from. You can also get here. Because that's the power of ministry. Everything works better for your good. It is your good. So that is how it's applying in my life. And I've seen it manifesting in that way.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You know, I thank you, man. You know, like you speak, I feel like you and I are just like the same, because you're just speaking about how, you know, how one event can, you can still be there and can affect you for the rest of your life. I love how you were able to deal with the rape. Maybe you were reminded about it, and you were, you know, every January. I personally have experienced rape as a child, and I buried it. I buried it because I'm normally a very bubbly person. I talk too much. I'm always happy. So I buried that. You know, I didn't want to think about it, didn't want to talk about it. I didn't deal with it. And until a time where, you know, there was someone that was ministering to me, and I felt like this person is just coming here to remind me about what I've been through. I remember so angry at her. I was so angry at her. I'm like, why are you talking about my life like that? I forgot about that. But it was somehow that ministering was reminding me that there's something that is still broken in me that actually needed to be dealt with, of which when I started now talking about it and actually acknowledging it, even up to this day, I'm just going to tell a short story. Someone was sharing a story, and I found myself very emotional when they were sharing their story about what they had experienced. And I found that I still get triggered about something that I thought I had forgotten and had let go. You know, how do you then, like, my question is now, how do we then unpack all these things? Because sometimes you think, you know what, I'm over it, it's done, we forget about it. And then until somebody reminds you that actually you went through this. And the funny thing about life, you don't get time to breathe. You go through this, when you think that is it, you try another one, then maybe it doesn't work out. You try another one. By the time you wake up, like, oh, I'm a divorcee. I have 2 kids. What happened in the past 10 years? What happened in the past 10 years? Okay, so I just want to, like, how do we, guys, I just want to pose this question to everyone as well, because we need to unpack at some point, but sometimes life doesn't give us the chance to unpack and the things that you've been through, the traumas. Sometimes we are still trying to fill up for what we've been through, without even knowing that we're trying to cover up. So I don't know if you get my question, but how do we then unpack, or it's just allow the process to be what it is? I don't know. I can point anybody. I'm going to try and point out Lisa. She said she's busy with her baby. Let's just see if she can.
I can try to answer before Koliswa or anybody has a contribution. So we take it one step at a time. Like I said, you know, there's triggers. You know, you might be watching a movie and a sex scene comes on that pulls you into that situation, that reminds you of that, even though it's a romantic setup, but that can draw you back to that point. You know, it might be somebody touching you a certain way that it reminds you of that firm touch that you had on that day. So it is realizing your triggers and being aware of your triggers and dealing with those one step at a time. You cannot heal something that took so long to build in just a day. That's not being realistic. So you deal with it one step at a time. If it means you've got somebody else that you say, I want you to touch me this way so that this does not have any effect on me, so be it. If then it means you listening to the music that was playing on that day, if it makes you cry, feel your feels. Deal with your emotions, cry it out, scream it out, whatever is happening, you know, because the music is not what caused you pain. It is just what it represents that is hurting you. It is just a reminder of that is hurting you. So one step at a time, you look at the situation one step at a time. Say, this music, for me, it was Malaika. Every time Tubopo played, it reminded me of that, you know. But sometimes you go to weddings and then people start playing that song. Like, what do you do? Should I now start crying and bawling? Because, I mean, that is a reminder of what transpired on that day, you know. So you can now play that song and listen to the song and not really, because, you know, when you are getting raped, just to give an idea of what's happening, it's like time freezes and you are aware of every single thing that is happening at that time, from the smell, from, you know, just what is happening on your skin, from the noise that is happening. It could even be a creaking sound. You hear, it's like your senses are heightened because this is a situation where you don't want yourself in. You're not enjoying this moment and you want it to end. And, you know, you feel powerless. So your senses are aware of everything. So it is now just getting rid of all these things that you were aware of at that time and accepting and forgiving yourself that, you know, you are not guilty. You know, it is not you that caused the pain, that somebody caused this pain to you, and it was not right for them to do that. And forgiving yourself, it starts with also forgiving yourself, because once you forgive yourself, and then you can move forward and you forgive the person. And when I say you forgive the person, I'm not saying that you're forgetting. I'm saying you forgive them for you, because that hatred, it is what is making it easy for you to remember what transpired. So you forgive them for you. You forgive them for a forgiveness that you never, a sorry that you never even received. You're saying it's fine, this person did this, they might have been, just give an excuse, give a reason for why they did it, you know, just for your healing. And if it happens that the person comes and, you know, asks for forgiveness, well, that's great. Well, the guy that raped me, he was murdered. He was stabbed right on his private parts. And when I heard of that, I literally celebrated. And I realized later on that that is not a good way. That is not who I am. I'm not somebody to celebrate someone's death. That he has caused me. It has caused such a hatred for him that I see it okay for me to celebrate death. You know, so it is about forgiving that person for a story that you never received and saying, yes, it happened. I cannot change the past, but I have power to control what is happening to me now in moving forward and in letting go and making sure that what happened does not drag me down, does not pull me back to that space.
I love it. I love it. I don't know if Tolisa is ready to unmute her mic. She's got any contribution. I'm just going to point people out, guys. I am so sorry because no one is coming forward. Tolisa, if you cannot speak, I know you have someone. Oh, there she is.
Hi, you're putting me on the spot.
Yes.
And you know I don't like it. No,
I love this.
I'm so appreciative that I joined this conversation this evening. Like I need to have the recording and listen to it properly again. But I liked what Dix shared about how one thing can just uh, make one small thing that happened can just change your life or affect so much of your life that you don't even realize. And I think it's really important, the self-awareness, to really look back. Maybe what I can ask is, I don't know, how did you, what steps did you take to be able to realize? Because sometimes these things we bury them, like Chamsa said, those things that happened, it happened, yes, and maybe you were not even paying attention to it, but it happened. Your mind registered it, your mind kept it somewhere. So every time when everything else keeps happening, it keeps building up on that thing. But now, how do you, you know that there's something in your life, there's something that you know that is not like it's not correct, it's not as it should be. I don't know how to ask the question. How do you do that work of being able to root out what it is, maybe that, how did you come to the realization? Because right now, you know exactly, it's like you can point out exactly where it all started. And, when you bury things, you get to a point where you don't even know where it started. It's just messy. It just becomes messy. So, and then some people may even tell themselves, no, God made me this way. You may even be angry at God but God, why did you make me this way? And you didn't make that person that way. But you don't realize that maybe it's you reacting from traumas or things that happened, or rather that's how your body or yourself, how you reacted to everything that happened. That I hope you understand what I'm trying to ask.
Yeah, I completely understand. So for me, it was really, like I said earlier, facing my demons. And by facing my demons is being honest, like brutally honest, to say, why do you feel this way? Is it because of what Tabisa said? You start from what is currently happening right now. Like, why does Tabisa's words hurt me this way when she says this? And then from then on, Tabisa will take you back to Jedidah. Jedidah will then take you back to so and so, because you kind of like see a pattern to say, but this has happened to me when I was 5, this happened here, until such a time where you actually get to where it started. And writing down the pattern, and just interrogating the truth in it, to say, is it true when Tabisa says I'm ugly? The truth is, no, I'm not. Is it true I'm dark-skinned? Yes, I am dark-skinned. But does that make me ugly? Then why does it hurt me? Why does it hurt me when Tabisa says that I'm dark-skinned? And then it'll take you to a point of, my parents never told me that I'm beautiful, for instance. Because here's the thing about ministry. If there is nobody that is saying the positives and you're just getting the negatives, you will concentrate on the one that you consume the most. So let's say when this boy said this to me, that, well, he did not say it to me, when he was saying that this is the prettiest of the bunch. When he said it, and then I got home and my parents said, oh, my beautiful daughter, then it overrides that. Like, oh, okay, so it might be, his opinion on beauty. I might have seen it differently. And when now the whole Msesho thing comes, I was not going to be validating it on that boy saying this, because now when Msesho came, I'm validating why he said we are not pretty, or that other one is prettier than us. So it is about interrogating all those things. And if there's anything that you can take out of this talk tonight, is how you are ministering to the next person, whether intentionally or unintentionally. What is it that you're uttering out of your mouth? And what is it that you entertain in the space that you are in? Like if somebody says something negative to somebody or makes a joke to someone, are you laughing at the joke? Are you part of the problem, or are you part of the solution? Are you saying this is not okay? Because you now understand that ministering can destroy somebody. It might be a joke, it might be coming out of a place of a joke, but the person that is receiving it, they might be laughing, but it does not necessarily mean that it is sitting well with them. You might be the reason why someone hangs themselves, because you were the last person to actually remind them of how unworthy and how ugly they are, whereas you could have stood up and said, this is not okay. So I don't know if I answered your question, Oliso, but it's about just unpacking and interrogating the information and facing the demons one step at a time and going back and back until you get to a point of knowing. Because yes, you are building up like a whole lot of things. Like if you are now, like I said, you know, me feeling ugly, I'm now even pulling in the rape to say this is why I was raped. But rape was something separate in itself. It had nothing to do with my beauty. So being honest enough to say the rape happened, and it happened in this way. It happened because this guy has a problem, or it was wrong of him. And I'm being honest to say it had nothing to do with how I look or how I was dressed or how I was walking or where I was at the time or how I trusted him, because it was somebody that I trusted as well. You know, that how I trusted, that it had nothing to do with anything like that. You interrogate, you face the demons as they are, and you face a situation one-on-one. You don't pull it all together. Yes, at the time that it's affecting you, it is just bundled up, but you must now unbundle it. You must unpack it.
One thing I am taking. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I don't know if Olisa, you have you got answered.
I did. Thanks a lot, Dix.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. One thing that I am taking from your answer, Dikeledi, is that one thing that you believed that you were not, you started saying that these are the things that you deserve and you believe that you are right now. So for me, I would say I'm receiving your answer in the sense that I need to go back and see the good things that I believe that I deserve or that I am, and see the bad things that I believe, because you believed that you were ugly and you received anything that came after because you believed you don't deserve any good thing. I went through the same thing. I remember I would persevere and I would be patient with situations that are not treating me good, but because I believed, based on childhood trauma, I believe that I deserve this, and you know, we can tolerate these things. You have taught us that with your story, but out of it all, I love how you have turned it around and you have life. In fact, God has actually made it work together for good, for good for you, because now you are telling a different story, and I believe that there's still a lot that God has in store for you. I love the Dikeledi that I met. I don't know. I love this version of you, because this is the vision that God said, you know what, I'm going to introduce these women. I'm going to introduce you to the world as the healed version of yourself. It's one of the things that I'm very passionate about. Ladies and gentlemen, it is 7:02. We're going to give Osis Dikeledi just 2 minutes to wrap up, and then we're going to close our space this evening. Over to you. You can go.
Thank you. So in closing, what people say about you, it is not a true reflection of who you are. It is just their perception. So I would like to close with what I sent you guys as one of the words that I live by. Because I sent you 1 Timothy, which reads, where did I put it now? If you have it closer, you can just read it, because I want this version that is on here. I don't want the version that I know.
We will wait.
The 1 Timothy that I sent. Let me just quickly go onto your page. I think I will get it quicker there. Yes. For God has
I've
not
got it.
given
Should
us
I
the
read it
spirit
for
of
you? Or you
fear.
got it?
I've got it. Yeah, thank you, Jadida. For God has not given us the spirit of fear and timidity, but of power, love, and self-discipline. So I live by this, and this makes me courageous or brave enough to face whatever storm that may come my way. So I would like you to also maybe just apply it in your life. And like the words of Maya Angelou, in her poem, I'll Rise, you may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still like air I'll rise. So you will rise. It does not matter what stones they throw at you, you will rise. You have a story to tell, and your story will minister to someone else. So live your truth and don't let anybody diminish you or shrink you to what you are not, for you will rise. That is not your end. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We will definitely rise. Thank you so much. No matter what they throw at us, we will rise. Also, God did not give us the spirit of fear, but of power and a sound mind. I love it in that version, but we got power and a sound mind. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Thank you so much, Dikeledi, for coming in and just being vulnerable and telling us your story. And, may God just keep on doing what he's doing, because right now I see radiance, I see beauty, I see self-love, I see a Dikeledi is like, I'm coming for everything that the enemy said I cannot be. And God is doing just that in each and every one of us. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining. Have a wonderful evening and a lovely weekend. We hope that you will have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you next week. It is the month of March. We will just share with you what is coming next in the month of March. Dikeledi, have a wonderful day. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for
Thank you.
listening. Bye.
Good night.
Good night. Do you want to chat here?
No, I think we can hop off.
Okay. Because I want
Alright.
this recordings, I need to access them.
They usually also send them